It's interesting because I don't think my research has anything to do with accounting per se, at least the way you normally see it in the classroom. But accounting research really is about information dissemination, performance measurement, and that sort of brings in a lot of qualitative data into consideration. My research examines how the cultural background of executives affects the way they communicate with the investment community. The first piece through which I examined this effect was actually the linguistic background of executives, more specifically whether non-native English speakers spoke in a way that differs from native speakers when they addressed investors and analysts through earnings conference calls. And what we found was that the more distant the language, which is the native language that executives stem from English, the more they expressed themselves in a way that suggested that they were making mistakes, or at least were making longer sentences, etc. And we found that this had a somewhat penalizing effect on how the market responded to their speech as a result. Subsequently, we looked at whether the cultural individualism of managers affected some speech patterns, such as their degree of optimism or their degree of self-confidence as manifested by the use of I versus we, or their lack of apologies whenever there were bad news. And we found, lo and behold, that managers that stem from more individualistic cultures tend to express themselves in these ways. And what's interesting, in some of those managers, even though their ability to speak in English may not be as good as that of a native speaker, still decide to face investors and their question in a sort of live manner. And so what we see is that despite the fact that those firms are probably the very best in terms of communication skills, still may face some frictions when they talk to the foreign investment community. So I would like to tell them that they should pay more attention and perhaps inject more optimism or apologize less than they otherwise would be inclined to.